Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Through the Fire. I am your host, Ryan Wickline, and today we are joined by a very special guest. She is an author and Going Bonkers guide, Miss Allison Pazuk. How you doing today, Allison?
I am fantastic. Thank you for asking.
Hey, it is my pleasure to have you on here. I'm kind of interested where the bonkers comes from. So the number one question the audience is probably wondering, who is Allison Pazuk?
Great question. And I love the fact that your podcast is called Through the Fire, because I say that in my book that I walked through the fire and came out smoking hot. So it's, pretty kind of cool. But essentially, I was touched by the universe multiple times. I will say that, with a hot element kind of thing, like, hey, you got to listen to me. Hey, you got to listen to me. Hey, you got to listen to me. And then they came along, sledgehammered me right into the middle of the fire. And I needed to figure out, be resilient, and figure a way out of it. And then I wrote a book about it. How's that for keeping everyone in the dark?
That's usually how it works. We try to avoid the fire, but we usually get dragged through it, and that's what forms us and takes us to that next level and redirects us to where we're ultimately supposed to be going.
100%. 100%. And every one of those things stepped me closer to being here today, really, to be able to share information and share the lessons that I learned with your listeners.
Awesome. So you've been held at gunpoint 3 times.
I have.
How rare is this? And what do you think you've been taught by this?
Well, and just want to clarify that I am in Canada, so that makes it even more interesting, the fact that I was held up at gunpoint 3 times. Why or how it helped me is that the very first time, I was working in a drugstore. And the very first time it happened, I ran to the back, I hid behind the counter, and they were coming in for drugs. So they went to the pharmacist to ask for drugs. Then they decided they were going to stop at the cash register. The pharmacist couldn't open it. And so they were getting frazzled. They were getting annoyed. And so then I came out of hiding to face these guys, 2 men, balaclavas, gunpoint, to be able to see if I could help. And looking back on it, I'm not sure if it was my stupidity or, to come out of hiding, or if it's just that desire to help people and to be of assistance. I'm not sure. So that was the first time. Victim services came in and said, it's like winning the lottery. It'll never happen again. The following week, same scenario. I did not come out of hiding that time. I stayed put. They just went, got drugs, same thing happened. Victim services come in. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is like winning the lottery and being struck by lightning. It'll never happen again. Third time around, same thing happened. And at that point, I quit. I mean, really, how many times is this going to keep going on? And come to find out, it was people in prison who were out on day pass, and they were just stocking up on their drugs that they could then sell when they returned to prison. But one of the things I did learn is that as much as you want your heroes to come in and help you, there's no one coming to help you. You need to help yourself. You need to have the strength and the resilience, and not sit back and wait for a hero like a police officer or something like that to come in and help you when you're in the fire.
So it's almost like you were being redirected away from that job.
Yeah, you're right. Never thought of it that way. Yeah, I never thought of it that way, but that is very true.
So how has shifting your mindset from adversity to redirections helped you?
So much. so much, because I was a teacher for 27 years. I was teaching high school math, so hormonal teenagers, and trying to convince them that math was a good choice. I ended up fixed mindset, very crusty, looking forward and counting down the days to retirement. And I loved the students, don't get me wrong, but I was recognizing that I'm here for so much more. What the heck is this? What am I doing here? What am I doing here? And there were several things along the way. So I don't know what I put in the information that I shared with you, but it was being held up at gunpoint. My husband's 20th anniversary gift of a heart attack on a plane on the way to Cuba. That was a fun one. Then what else was it? The gunpoint. Why I left teaching, went into entrepreneur, into real estate investing and helping rehab houses. My husband and I were doing it. The economy turned. $2.7 million in debt to hard money lenders. That was a fun year. And it was during that time when I started recognizing and looking back at the dots, looking back and trying to connect the dots, and how did I end up here? And actually looking at the opportunities that I was either overlooked on or redirected through these events. It changed the mindset into being a little bit more flexible and surrendering. And then when that ovarian cancer diagnosis came through, it allowed me to stop and pause and recognize what was important, and that these redirections, these events are there to teach me something, and that there is a silver lining in each and every one of them.
Wow, that's an amazing perspective shift. And that's not easy to do, to actually change that perspective and see, hey, there's good in this. How exactly were you able to do that?
Well, again, as you mentioned, is everything that happens to you helps you become who you are as the next challenge, or the next whatever it is that might happen. And that could be a good challenge as well as a bad challenge, but you need to become someone to get to that point. And how did I get there? When I was faced with the cancer diagnosis, because of everything I'd been to up at that point, it wasn't like the movies where it was, oh my Lord, oh my gosh, this is the end. What am I going to do? Literally, I went, okay, let's figure this out. And it was just that mindset of everything is figure outable. How am I going to get through this? And then diving into researching and understanding and finding survivors. The medical community considers survivors, long-term survivors, 5 years. I'm like, no, that's short-term. I want the long-term survivors. And started trying to find them. It did take a while to find them. And upon finding them, then implementing what they're doing. And a lot of what they were doing was soul healing and meditating and surrendering, really and truly. And I don't mean surrendering in a weak way. I mean surrendering the having to make a decision, the having to follow the rules, more of the, well, I have a choice. I have 2 different options. I'm going to surrender. When I wake up in the morning, I'm going to make my choice, and I'm going to be satisfied with that choice.
Huh. So what exactly is soul healing?
I'm still working on it, so I will preface with that. But it's a friend of mine likes to say that your soul is basically like this. You've got a little pilot light inside, and everything that you go throughout your life, you're piling on traumas, whether they're big traumas or little traumas or happy ones or what have you, but you're storing all of these things inside of your subconscious little shell. Your soul's in there. Well, the more you put on there, you end up down as a pilot light. So going back, reflecting on all of those little things, forgiving people, recognizing all of those little elements will allow that light to burn brighter and brighter. I'm hoping that makes sense.
Yeah. So you talked about how being diagnosed with cancer led you to your true purpose. What exactly is your true purpose?
My true purpose, and this is why I wrote the book, was to inform people and to help people to recognize that they are in control. They need to be self-advocates. They are not a pawn in the societal matrix of life. That all of, you don't have to do the traditional, go to school, go to work, retire, do whatever the government says, do whatever I'm not saying going and break rules, and I'm not saying that in the slightest. But what I'm meaning though is that I want people to recognize that they can blaze their own path, that they can choose a little bit of this and a little bit of this as they're walking down their own path. And when I mean a little bit of this and a little bit of this, what I'm referring to specifically when I was going through cancer was the Western medicine, the holistic medicine, the meditation, all of the pieces that I knew was right for me. So my purpose is literally sharing the information and the research that I have found to empower people to go bonkers. Bonkers is an acronym. To go bonkers and to be the CEO of their life.
That's awesome. So, what type of meditation did you deep dive into?
The big one for me was Dr. Joe Dispenza. So everyone's heard of Joe Dispenza. He was someone who was essentially in a bike accident. He was paralyzed. I believe it was from the neck down, told he would never walk again. And then through meditation and knowing and recognizing that his body could heal itself, he managed to heal it himself, so he can walk again and everything. And then he then dove into quantum physics, metaphysics, and that type of thing. So I was reading his book, dove into, I'm just trying to remember. That's why I suddenly paused there. I was trying to remember the name of his book. Anyway, it'll come to me in a minute, I'm sure. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. I believe that's the one it was. Highly recommend it. And so then I just started listening to guided meditations of his. And I would be sitting there cross-legged on those big snuggle chairs, bald, at this point, because I've lost my hair, and, sitting there meditating. And I don't know, it just helped to clear my mind and helped for me to create scenarios. And I know this is sound weird, but create scenarios as my body was healing. So things like when I would go in for a chemo infusion, I would say, well, guess what, guys? There is an enemy in the ovarian faction, and we have the SWAT team coming in today, which is the infusion, and it's going to help our natural killer cells go in and clean out and hunt down this particular person and take them through to the liver to be removed. So, just creating those scenarios, and then also the visualization.
Yeah, so you were visualizing agents fighting back in your body, and manifesting healing.
That's right. And opposed to looking at battling and fighting, I wasn't, even though I'm calling it a SWAT team, it wasn't a battle. It was more of my body is sending me a message. This cancer is a symptom. It's not the end. So this is a symptom. There's something going on. There's something out of balance, or my body is out of ease, which is why it's called dis-ease. And, I need to be able to rectify that particular cause, which for me was stress. I was taking on so much stress and buying into the 5 a.m. club, sleep is overrated. You can sleep when you're dead. Don't follow those rules. Your body really needs to recharge.
Yeah. Yeah. I figured that out quite a few different times, that sleep and rest is actually good and needed at times.
100%. Yeah, you definitely need that. Your body needs it.
I love the title of your book, Going Bonkers. You mentioned that bonkers is an acronym. What does it stand for?
Excuse me. B stands for brave, because it takes deep courage to be able to question those that you hold in authority. So yeah, it was courageous for me to come out from behind a counter and face those men in balaclavas and pointing guns. But it's equally courageous to ask for a second opinion. It's equally courageous for you to say to your oncologists or anyone in authority, yeah, but how is this going to help me? And that type of thing. So that's B. O is for open. And for open, you want to be open to other people and other ideas before you're making your decision. So doing your research and collecting data and choosing what's right for you, rather than, as I used to do, jumping off cliffs without a parachute and trusting that I'll be okay. N is for non-conforming. So again, as I mentioned before, not following the people in the white lab coats or the people who are saying you must do this, you must do that, because it's the way it's always been done. Be non-conforming, don't play by anyone's rules but your own. B-O-N. K is for kick-ass. So recognize the fact that you are one kick-ass person, and release your kick-assery as often as you can. E is for emotional. And emotional, you don't have to be brave for everybody. It's okay to feel your feelings. If you're angry, if you're happy, if you're sad, they're all valid feelings. So make sure you recognize them. R is for resilient. So you want to, it's not just stick with itness and grit. It's more of self-belief. So you've got to believe in yourself. You have to visualize that you will be at the outcome, be it health, be it in business, be it whatever it is. You have to have that belief that you can do it. And then the last one is the thread that ties the whole freaking thing together, and that's self-advocacy. So you need to be able to advocate for yourself, know that you own your body, your choices, and your experiences.
I love it. What was the biggest challenge you probably faced writing your book?
In terms of writing the book, the biggest challenge for me was almost like, I believe it's called survivor syndrome, that I went into remission with ovarian cancer, which is known as the silent killer. It's one of the bad ones. I mean, they're all bad, but it's one of the really bad ones. And I went from almost stage 4, it was 3C, to remission. I knew it was gone in 4 months. But according to the tests, and they have to do all the medical tests and all that sort of thing, and it was 6 months. So even in 6 months to knock that. And then when I was writing the book, I was saying things like, yeah, but what I did might not work for everybody. I'm talking about being non-conforming, like choosing your own path. And then I was, yeah, but what if I was misdiagnosed in the beginning, which is silly. There's enough tests and everything to show that it was there. There was, just so many different things that I needed to overcome myself and basically be my own kick-ass, take my own advice and do that sort of thing. Sorry, I kind of.
It's all right. So you kind of were in that mode where you had them limiting beliefs, like, oh, well, it worked for
Yes.
you, but can it work for everybody else? Trying to hold you in place instead of letting you share your message.
Yes. Thank you for interpreting. And that is the one thing that I do even mention in my book are unlimiting beliefs. Why do we focus on keeping ourselves small with limiting beliefs? Think bigger. Think about unlimiting beliefs and you become limitless then.
I like that. Like changing your perspective on it, instead of let's have these limiting beliefs or hold me back. Think of unlimiting beliefs to be great.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
How were you able to become the CEO of your own healing journey?
I again was a teacher and then went into entrepreneurs. So if your listeners are into business and they understand what a CEO is. So the CEO is Chief Executive Officer. They make a lot of the big decisions for your business, for their business. So imagine it this way. If a salesperson dressed in a suit walks in, knocks on the door of the CEO's office, so excited, and they go in and they sit down and they say, oh, guess what? I have found the perfect widget. This widget, you're going to implement it into your business and it will solve all of your problems. I've done trials, I've done tests, I've done research. This is the answer. Do you honestly think that CEO would implement that widget immediately?
No.
Hell no. They would look at the data, they'd look at the research, they'd call committees together, they'd get managers from each department to see if that widget would be positive for them, if it would increase their profits and their KPIs. Why the heck are we perfectly okay doing that for a business where there's money involved, but not for our health? Why don't we do the questioning? Why don't we do the research, looking at the data, forming committees, and then make a decision based on all of that research before we just say, oh, sure, you want me to take a pill? Oh, yeah, sure. Okay. You want me to dress a certain way or whatever it is, So that's how you become the CEO, is that you act as if you were the CEO of a business.
I mean, now that you mention it, I think we've all become, like directed to kind of just do what like doctors will tell you when it comes to your health. Oh, you're sick, take this. If you this, take that, instead of just doing other research and look at more of a holistic approach of like exercise, sunlight, vitamins, letting your body naturally fight some of the viruses we get.
Yes. 100% agree. There, we are so easy to just push the easy button. We're so quick to just push the easy button, as opposed to, and you said it, just letting our body fight itself. When we get a fever, well, your body is attacking a virus. The biggest way, which sounds bizarre, but the biggest way to let your body heal is to go and do some fasting. And obviously, men and women are different. You have to make sure that you're fasting appropriately. But when your body fasts, it is incredible what happens and how it heals.
Huh. So I've never even really deep dove into that. So can you explain a little bit more about fasting and healing?
Sure. So I know for myself, I was doing fasting in and around my chemotherapy infusions. And so I was fasting for 72 hours, so 3 days. So day before, day during, and the day after my infusion. When you're fasting for that length of time, your body doesn't have anything to digest. So it's able to focus on healing. So with those infusions, it increases the efficacy of those infusions by something like 300%. It is incredible. And also, because your body's not digesting food, it can focus on what it is that you want it to heal. It goes into what's called autophagy, where it will go through and look for disease cells and look for other ones, and they will ship them all off to your liver and clean it out. And also, I had very few side effects. I was not nauseous. I did not throw up. I was on 3-week cycles, and I would say for the first 4 days, my joints hurt. But after the 4th day, I was fine. I was still, my muscles were kind of weak. Use it or lose it is definitely real. But in terms of healing, again, at 72 hours, your body then starts creating new stem cells. They have growth hormones that it releases. That it's just mind blowing. Like, seriously, we could do a whole podcast on fasting itself.
Crazy. What types of lifestyle changes and eating habits did you make and like retain on your road to recovery?
Yeah, because I was doing the research on what survivors did, the big one was sugar. They all eliminated sugar. And when you start diving into what cancer eats, cancer grows on glucose and sugar. So I immediately eliminated sugar, like cold turkey, no more sugar. It is in freaking everything. Try and buy anything without sugar, like balsamic vinaigrette should be vinegar and oil. It has sugar in it. So that was the biggest one. And I've lightened up a little bit. When I'm at a restaurant, I don't say, can you please go ask the chef if there is sugar in this dressing? I don't do that anymore. I used to say, I don't eat sugar, just as the same as someone with a nut allergy would say, I don't eat nuts. It was non-existent. Like I say, now it's a little bit looser. So no sugar, no caffeine, which was hard, no coffee, no alcohol, which was fine. I wasn't drinking all that much anyway. White flour, like refined flour, refined sugar, no dairy. So then what's left? What's left? No sugar, no grain, no dairy, no red meat. What's left? So, and I would eat 2 eggs a week. That's it. So a lot of whole food. So essentially it became a whole food diet. You want to go, you find organic foods and eat it. I started diving into, what does organic mean? Organic means no pesticides, people advertise no pesticides, but there could still be other sprays on it. Okay. So we've got that. We've got the whole thing with grass-fed, grass-finished. They mean completely different things, like the whole labeling. Anyway, I've gone way down a different wormhole than where we started with the question. But diet was a huge one. What else did I do for lifestyle? Lymph system, making sure that was moving. Lymph system doesn't have a pump, so you have to make sure that you move. Rebounding and bouncing on a little trampoline is the best way to do that, to be able to get that moving. Meditation, journaling, they were the big lifestyles that I made.
So what did you kind of do with the journaling to help you?
With the journaling, what I'm grateful for, a goal for the day, and depending where I was throughout, I still do it, so obviously my goals are different, but my goal for the day, it could be something as simple as walk down the driveway. That was a big one. Get dressed today. Just, various things like that I would have a goal for. Who am I? So, I am a powerful, loving spirit. I am a miracle. So those types of things to say to yourself. And then my 10 truths. So I live a wellness lifestyle and make healthy choices. So just truths about myself that even my worst enemy would say was true. I love my family, things like that. I was going to say something else and I can't think what it was. So I'll pause at that point.
How much did gratitude kind of help you through that experience?
A ton. I was doing gratitude before cancer, but that helped so much come out of the fixed mindset and the more appreciative growth mindset. And when you start noticing those synchronicities and you start noticing that things are happening for you instead of to you. So for the gratitude, it was, wow, thank you, green light. Man, I'm so grateful for those Amazon delivery drivers delivering all those books. I'm so grateful that I have hot water. There are people in the world that have a little bucket of cold water and they're trying to wash, and I get to stand here in hot water. It was a huge thing, huge shift.
I mean, I think so many of us would be like, if we practice gratitude a little bit more, like our minds would open up so much more, because a lot of us have all these little things that we overlook.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. Another thing, I use gratitude myself to kind of get out of the funk I was in, to get me through my own fire, my own life. Was gratitude helped me shift like that, from that fixed mindset, like you said, to, the more of a growth mindset.
Yeah, exactly. And did you journal it, or did you verbalize, or how did you do it?
So a lot of times journaling, like, write down and keep like 10 things you're grateful for. Just kind of like write out how your day was. And then just at the end, 10 things you're grateful for. And then athletes I work with, I tell them the same thing. I was like, write down 10 things you're grateful for. A lot of those things are going to be the same, every day. Like, you have a home, you have food, things like that, friends, family. A lot of those things will be the same. But some of them days, things are going to be different. And you're going to notice it. And it's like, oh man, look what happened to me today.
Yes. Yeah. It's interesting because there are sometimes it's like, oh, gotta write in the gratitude journal, because I do it in the morning and at night.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm tired. All right, what am I grateful for today? And then you start reflecting back over the day, and it's like, wow, there's a lot of things that happen that is just amazing. And you go to bed with such a happy respect for life, really.
Yeah. And like an open heart to like the day, and like, oh man, I had such a great day. And that one bad thought you had, and like that one bad moment, doesn't compare to all those other moments.
That's exactly right. Exactly. And the one thing I did want to mention when you were talking about journaling is throughout the cancer journey, there was at one point in time, Forbes Riley suggested to me to do a vlog. So she's like, grab your phone, hit record, and talk to yourself. She says, you never have to listen to it again. But if you ever want to write a book or you want to share in the future, you have your raw thoughts, you've got your visual, you can see how you were. And so I did. And every single day it's really weird. Hey, Allison, how are you doing? Well, I know how you are because I'm you. And, you just start doing this type of thing. But when I was writing my book, the editor said to me, I want some journal entries. And I went, oh no, I have to go back through the vlog. And it was really hard. I will admit it was really hard to go back through it. But reflecting back and looking at that person who was doing the talking, and I'm like, man, they were strong. That's me. Where did she go? I've come out of this and now I'm getting caught back up into the busyness of life.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow. So if any of your listeners are going through anything, a divorce, family issues, moving to a new country, anything, start vlogging about your feelings, because it is incredibly empowering.
That was one of the reasons why I was told to start journaling too, was to get your emotions out and get them feelings out, and you can release them that way.
Exactly. Exactly.
What are some practical tips you can give our listeners with becoming healthier overall?
Sugar. Avoid the sugar. And I would look into. I'm not an expert by any means. The expert I would recommend for ladies is Dr. Mindy Peltz for fasting. For the men, there's a ton of research on fasting. So the difference being is that men's hormones every 24 hours will replenish. With women, we have 28 days. Surprise, surprise. We have a cycle with 3 specific different hormones being released at different points in times, and you need to feed your body different things throughout that journey. So Dr. Mindy Peltz, Eat Like a Girl, is the one that I would recommend for fasting. And you were just asking specific about diet, weren't you? I can't remember now.
Just and getting healthier in general.
Oh, true. Healthier. And exercise. Like, do something every day. You have to move every day. I'm sitting here and, I've got a resistance band. So, as I'm waiting on calls, I'm doing something, or the rebounder, the vibrator plate's just over there. But yeah, you've got to move. Like resistance, weights, got to move.
Great advice. You've planned your 110th birthday party. Tell us how visualization has helped you over your healing journey.
Well, that was a big one. When I was going through things, at first I was visualizing a clear scan. It's, and when I say visualizing, it's not like a vision board. It's, well, let me just give you an experiment. For the listeners, if you close your eyes, unless you're driving a car, close your eyes and imagine yourself walking into your kitchen. If you walk in there and you see on the counter a bright yellow lemon. So if you take a sharp knife, you slice that lemon in half, and the juice starts puddling on the counter. You pick up one half and the juice starts to run down your hand, and then you take a sniff of that really tangy, lemony scent. You stick out your tongue and you just touch it to it. Now, I want to ask you, how many of you are salivating? I imagine there's quite a few of you that are salivating, and that's because your mind had no idea if it was real or thoughts and feelings. That's what visualization is about. It's not pretty pictures on a vision board. It's the feeling that goes along with it. So, as I mentioned, I was imagining a clear scan. So I would visualize myself standing there as the oncologist said, well, there's nothing there. Nothing bad. Obviously, there's something there in the test. And the cancer is gone. And I would just go like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. And I would be so excited and that type of feeling. So then coming back to the 110th birthday, that was coming because of the medical community, as I mentioned, only saying 5 years. That's all they document to. And if you make it to 5 years, they figure they're a success. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. So for me, I said, well, how old am I planning on getting to? What's my future date? And 110 came to mind. So that's like only 54 years from now, people. And I'm going to be sitting at a picnic bench underneath a ponciana tree that's in full bloom. It's got big orange flowers. And on the picnic table, there's going to be a cake in the shape of an elephant. And it's going to have light gray icing. There will be sugar. I will eat sugar that day. And coconut sprinkles on the top. And I'll be surrounded by people who I've impacted or people who want to celebrate and be there with me. So I am inviting everybody I come in contact with. We've got 54 years, July the 14th. So, make sure that you put that in your calendars. I'm not sure where it'll be yet, but, stay in touch and I'll let you know.
I love it. I mean, that took a lot of guts, and that's like what the true meaning of visualization is: believe the impossible.
Exactly. Exactly. But that's the
I,
only way that miracles happen, right? Like miracles don't mean you have to believe in magic. You just have to believe that there are no limits. Really, that's where miracles happen, is that you don't limit yourself to, well, I don't know, statistics say, and well, no one's done it before, like Roger Bannister, running that mile, that no one had done it. So, it can't be done till someone does it. How much of
and
a
then wasn't it broken like there's an ungodly amount of people that broke it, that beat his record right after he beat it.
yeah,
It just showed it could be done, and everybody else like, okay.
yes, exactly.
I also like how you talked about with even the lemon, how you used all your senses
Mhm.
in visualization. Like, not too many people know about using all your senses like that to make it more real.
Exactly. So I do hope that your listeners remember that with the lemon when they're creating their vision boards, and it's not at all just cutting out pictures, sticking out on the board, and then crossing your fingers and hoping it comes true. You have to feel it. You've got to not get stuck in the how am I going to get it part, but you do need to take steps and action towards it.
Yeah. Like, I've also been told that, like, the more energy you put into it, like putting all your energy into that visualization, you give your unconscious mind, like, you actually get your unconscious mind to start believing it. So your subconscious mind will go look for ways to get it.
Exactly. Then your mind will start salivating for you, so to speak.
Yeah. Any other tips that you could give us on visualization?
um, the only other piece that I would throw in there is don't limit yourself to materialistic things. So when you are doing your visualization or your vision boards, we're getting towards the end of the year, so people will be looking at that for the beginning of next year. Try and include your health. So what is a lifestyle goal that you want to have in the future? And it doesn't have to be, I want to lose weight. I want to, like a lifestyle. I want to be able to walk a beach every day, like this thing behind me. I want to be able to walk on the beach every day. I want to give back. I want whatever that giving back is. And I'm looking up here at my board, and that's through speaking through my books and supporting community. Just include different aspects. So your health, your community, a personal goal, and then a professional goal as well, whatever that might be. But include a sort of everything from all different areas of life.
Yeah, so you're a little bit more well-rounded then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What message do you want your story to give someone else that just received a cancer diagnosis?
The big one is that it is as overwhelming as anything you could ever imagine. And knowing that other people have been through it and have gotten through it is super critical, and recognizing that you're not alone. So do look for those survivors. Come in and go to my website, read my book. I've got blogs, I've got different ways to help and give you tips. My book is seriously like sitting down with a friend, having a conversation. There, it is funny. I mean, even as much as like when I had the surgery and the staples are about to come out, it's like I wrote in my journal, man, this caterpillar is really, really itchy. I wonder if the staples come out, if it's like puppy teeth and it's okay that they come out. It just little things like that. Like, I get it. I understand because I have been there. I know what the thoughts are like. I know what the overwhelm is like. So find those survivors. Surround yourself with the positive. I can't say don't do this because then that's my path for you. It is your choice.
Awesome. How can people get a hold of you?
Easiest way is my name, so Allison Pazuk. I'm sure you'll have it in the show notes, but that's what I'm like on all my social media. It's also my website. It's AllisonPazuk.com. You can sign up for my newsletter. You can reach out to me on the contact page, and I can email you or Messenger or something like that. And the one thing I do want to say is that I am currently in the process of, it's all done, but I would say currently in the process because I'm attempting to figure out websites and how I can make this accessible for people. I do have the Bonkers framework, so people can print it out and then just have it as a reminder for themselves. I've got different examples in it with them as well. And I also have the starter kit. So over 7 days, just different tips to be able to get you started over 7 days through journaling, doing some exercise, making choices with whatever it might be, not just health, but business related and that sort of thing.
Awesome. Is there anything we haven't covered that you'd like to talk about?
I don't think so. We did a pretty deep dive, into everything, and anything more people can see it in my book and what have you. But in terms of the podcast, no, I don't think so. No, I think we covered everything. You did a great job.
Thank you. Final question. What is one piece of advice you'd like to leave our listeners with about overcoming adversity?
You are not a victim. You are not a victim. As crappy as whatever it is you're going through, whatever your adversity is, recognize that it is there for you. It's not happening to you. And it's the strangest way to think about it. You may not be able to see it until you're through it and on the other side. But think about your actions as if you were a CEO. Collect the data, make the decision. And then,
great advice.
I like to say that everything is figure outable, and you just need to figure out your next right step. You don't need to sort of aim at the end goal and go, oh man, I didn't get there today. It's just your next right step.
Yeah, and it usually takes about 3 missteps to get to that one right one too.
Exactly. Yeah.
A lot of trial and error along the way.
100%.
Well, Allison, thank you so much for coming on here, sharing your insight. You have an amazing story.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. I appreciate you having this podcast.
Hey, thank you so much. Well, guys, that's going to be all the time we have here today. Remember, the only way to get what you want is to go through the fire.